Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back once more with round 6 of the Winner's Circle project from Laguna, Seca. We have one more round to go at Line Rock on the 20th of May, but this is a special one. We're going to get into details with you very, very shortly here as well. Let's bring you up the current scores on the doors. For this one, you can see Owego is out in front on 225 with, where we go, Waverley on 205 next. Then we've got FDR on 181, John Jay on 178, and Dover on 117. That is the scores for this one. The good side and the upside and the flip side of all of this is this 90 points for a victory, 75 for second, 48, 39, 33, and 30. Now, we are going to go into the race details. We will look at a situation. They will have qualifying coming up very, very shortly. Race 1 will be 25 minutes. Now, the pit window is opening between 14 minutes remaining in the race and closes with 8 minutes remaining. So they have 6 minutes to make a pit stop. Why is that relevant, I hear you say? Well, it is relevant due to the fact that we have to swap drivers. Yes, one of them has to do a frantic jump out of the side of the rig as the other one is frantically jumping in to the other side of the rig. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. We do have driver cams on as per normal. We will bring you up all to try and catch as many swaps as we can. As per usual, guys, I'm James Parfit. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Matteo Lundgren. We've got no Pius this week. He's a little bit sick at home with a touch of the man flu. We're also joined, I'm excited here to have this man into the booth, is Mr. Chris Dyson. If you don't know about Chris, I don't know a lot about Chris, but we will have a chat with Chris as well very, very shortly. Let's bring Matteo into the booth. Matteo, what are we looking forward to in this one?
I'll tell you what, each school in the past 2 weeks they've got a new energy that's buzzing. And especially after all 6 schools, we took them on a Factory 5 field trip last weekend, and we visited Chris Dyson's racing lab, and the students were all talking and engaging with each other and talking about this race today. Who will win? Will Owego stay on top, or will somebody switch the points around and make this last race really, really exciting?
Well, I tell you what, let's bring Chris into the booth here and we can learn all about this man who had a load of young adults at his place the other day. Chris, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, James. It's fun to finally be able to join for the racing, the online racing here. It's terrific to see the enthusiasm that the kids have for the program, and we absolutely loved hosting them last week at our Dyson Racing shop.
So tell us a bit about yourself, Chris, while we just finish up on qualifying here for people who aren't aware who you are.
Yeah, so I've been in racing about 25 years professionally. The family's relationship to the sport goes back about 50 years. I've been a competitor and a team owner myself, and I'm also the principal owner and chairman of Racer Media and Marketing. So a lot of exposure to the sport. Love this game, and just thrilled to have all of the students learning about how exciting motorsports is through the Winner's Circle project.
Now, I've been told a little bit of tidbit information here. Are you a Hall of Famer in Trans Am?
I am actually. I got inducted about 6 weeks ago to the Hall of Fame with the inaugural class, which was an absolute huge honor. It's one of the oldest racing series in North America, coming up on 60 years. Instantly identifiable group, and I was just blown away to get the call to go in with the first group, which was loaded with my heroes.
So what do you actually get for being in the Hall of Fame, Chris? Because I've never quite understood. I've obviously watched Hall of Fames before. What do you actually get for being in it?
Well, I mean, I think you get the validation that a lot of the effort was worth it, insofar as the success is recognized. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to be happy in yourself and your own achievements. But as far as the exterior world and peers and people that you really respect saying that you've done a better than good job, and that you're alongside some of the all-time legends. I think it's psychic income. It's a life achievement as much as anything else.
Okay, well, there you go. That's from the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just come to the end of qualifying. We will bring you up the grid very, very shortly here, and look forward to seeing how these guys get on. Matteo, what do we think the driver swap's going to bring to all of this?
Yeah, each team this month has been really strategizing. Who's going to race first? How fast do we want to come out? Where do we put ourselves in position here for a victory? And it's been fun to see each team sort of come up with their own strategy. We've got each team realizing that they can earn the most points with the last of these races. So it's really they've been saving their good sim drivers or better sim drivers for these races on purpose. And we'll see how this first lap goes. As you know, I mean, each race, that first lap really sort of determines a lot.
Yeah, I think turn one has been a great problem for these. I've been sat here watching practice, and we've had a lot of people go off into the gravel trap. They take it in too fast, then they try and slow it down, stamp the brake pedal, and then they are in trouble, because after that the car is just going, no, do not do that to me. I don't like being slammed that much. You've at least got to sort of Netflix and chill me and treat me nicely to be able to, for me to work with you. One of the men that we've just had jump in the booth as well will know all about that is Mr. Matthew Overton. Matt, welcome in, bud.
Hey, thanks very much. It's good to be here. I'm looking forward to a fun race today.
Yeah, definitely should be. What have we said to the drivers, Matt?
We've said, well, I spent a lot of time just doing some troubleshooting as we're getting ready, but as we get to the start, I'll be just reminding them just to take their time. We talked about the driver swap, which is the key race element today. They've got a couple of drivers that will do a hot seat swap, so we talked about that. Requirements there, and just as you pointed out, I like that. Do a little bit of Netflix and chill, treat each other nicely, and get through the first couple laps to get the cars warmed up and running, and then have a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be one of the things today. We have got Brendan Dougherty, who's just joined us. Brendan is a little bit busy, but he's taking his time out of his busy schedule to hop in and out of the booth as the race goes on. Brendan, welcome in, bud.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
I'm doing well, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm sitting here at Waverly High School after a busy week of stopping by every school, checking on them, and talking about this race that's coming up.
How have they been?
Very good, actually. I'm actually really proud of all the students. Everybody's been taking this training and learning for our Laguna very well. We went over setup ideas. We went over the rules and the penalties, about talking about the pit windows, making sure that you're fully stopped for the driver change, talking about driver change going in and out to make a smooth transition, and driving lines for this killer track of Laguna Seca of the corkscrew.
We'll find out. Chris, would you have any words of advice for any of these drivers who are entering that corkscrew in cars that, well, don't have a lot of helpful ABS or anything like that for them? What advice would you give them as they hurtle up the hill?
Well, Laguna Seca is actually notoriously pretty low grip. So it's one of these circuits. They've repaved it in the last few years, so it's picked up a little bit. But I think, as everyone realizes here, there's, especially with the kind of horsepower that these cars have, with low grip conditions, you've got to be extremely, extremely smooth on how you transition into throttle, how you apply the brakes, how you release the brakes. It's not a track where you can be aggressive. Discipline is going to be the order of the day in order to go quickly and win this race.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that's one of the things that people can't always learn, is to come out the corner and not slam the throttle down straight to the deck, Chris. I think it's something that these drivers have learned as the season's gone on, that they've got to be nice to a car that it needs to be treated nice, I suppose, in a way, when we think about it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you've got more power than grip, the biggest thing is to just try to get the rolling speed mid-corner, get the car as flat as possible, and not have a lot of side load in it when you accelerate, because you're already leaning on a tire that's had enough. So especially around Laguna, just a lot of precision. You want to get your braking done early enough that you're not rolling into the middle of the corner with too much speed, because you're never going to get that pace back. You really want to focus on your exits here.
Yeah. Is this where with the philosophy of slow in, fast out, Chris? Is this something that we would be happily telling them?
Yeah, I think here arguably more than anywhere, especially because the corners, they decrease in radius in a lot of cases, so they're actually tightening on exit. So you absolutely need to get it done in the first third of the corner in order to stand a chance to get off on the exit.
Yeah, unfortunately, Waverley did look like they may have had a bit of an issue going into turn one, which is what the problem area was as well. Matteo Lundgren, dear sir, if you were picking somebody today, who would you pick?
Oh, geez, James, I knew this was coming, and
Every week, buddy.
We've got some all-stars out there, some WCP all-stars, people that have done the program now for 2 years. We've got Blythe Miller out in Owego. And right now, Owego's holding that first place standing in Ketchum. Really surprises us in the 5th place standing right now. And they've got Jeremiah and Cody racing for them, and they need this victory badly. And right now, I've got this feeling. I've got a real strong feeling. And I'm going to go way out there and pick Dover today. I'm going to pick my man Jeter. Jeter representing Dover today. He's going to bring Dover out of 6th place, put him in the rankings. Let's go Dover today.
Okay, fair play. Fair play to you, dear sir. Fair play. Let's have a look at a quick up of the grid before we run through everybody else's pick. I really haven't decided where I'm going to go today, to be blatantly honest. Jeremiah and Cody for Ketchum are on pole position with Blythe and Brandon in 2nd. Then you've got Aidan and Chris in 3rd for FDR, and Nash and Arif in 4th. Sharice and Jira in 5th, and then Danny and Claire for Waverley in 6th place at the back there. I like the look of Double J. I think Nash is looking strong, and I'm going to go with that. Brendan, if you had a choice of drivers and teams, who would you pick?
Tough, just like how Mateo was saying, but I'm going to go with my guys at Owego. Blythe and Brandon, they were really seem dialed in and want to keep those points going.
Okay, well, nobody's gone anywhere at the moment. Jeremiah and Cody's just got a penalty off the line. Chris, I know you're new to this one, buddy. Who do you think who would you go with?
It's too much for me to say. I think I'm probably going to have to watch the first couple laps to let you know.
Oh, man, no worries at all. That's normally Pius's answer, to be blatantly honest, Chris, and he normally turns around and says they're all winners. But, Matteo, we've got news about Pius's pick this week.
Yes, we do. And Pius has made a decision, everybody. Be prepared. Pius is going with Ketchum today. The classic Jeremiah and Cody pick. He's got all the faith in the world in Ketchum, bringing these points a little bit closer to first.
Well, there you go. We're going to find out how these guys get on. We are on the pace lap at the moment here, as these drivers will be looking to settle in. We're going on board with Nash and Arif there in the Double J machine, as they look in absolutely amazing. They're on their run currently from turns number 4 right the way down into turn 5 before they start going up the hill into turn 6. The tricky left-hander, they've got that inside dip and they've got the sausage curb to contend with at the same time, and if they hit that, well, it's going to be a bit dramatic as well. I know a lot of people recently, Chris, this might be a question for you, the gravel on the right-hand side of the run-up from 6 to 7, that's recently been paved, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know they've done some work on reprofiling the course, and it was for 2 reasons. The first of which was to keep the Porsche events there, and they have a big Rennsport event there every few years, and it was also to maintain IndyCar and IMSA series. So they're trying to keep up with the latest safety advances and also keeping performance in the race surface.
Now, there you go. I know a lot of people in the sim racing world was not happy, but as you said, they've got to do what financially they've got to do is best for the track, Chris, and I think that's something that a lot of tracks are struggling with at the moment, is the financial side of things.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing is there's a very well capitalized group called the Friends of Laguna Seca, led by some friends of ours, Bruce Canepa and a few other notables from the West Coast, who are going to be investing, untold millions in this facility to make it a crown jewel of North America. So I think you got to stay tuned and be patient, but there's great things ahead for this circuit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the sim racing world, words of a man who drives in real life. Be patient. I know it's not something that we can all go and say we've got, especially when you're on a racetrack. Well, they're going to line up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your drink, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, because 25 minutes is just about to start. It's going to be a battle of the masters. Jeremiah, Cody, Blythe and Brandon, Owego and RCK are going to get off the line straight away in first place. RCK out in front. He's coming down into the left-hander. This is the corner that's caused problems in practice. They've got to make sure that they can at least get round turn one before they have any major dramas. Through two they go. Now on the run up into turn three, the right-hander, the purple of RCK out in front. Blythe Brandon tucked in right behind in the red, and then we've got Chris from FDR in third place there. Everybody got away cleanly, Matteo. No real dramas at the moment, but the field is kind of a little bit spread out, but it is the two of Owego and RCK out in front.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see that they were all patient there in that first turn. We've seen in previous races where people make some aggressive decisions early on. So we'll see how this all pans out. Now it's about lap time. It's about consistency.
Oh,
and we'll see if
no, it's not.
Oh.
They're in. Oh, they're in the wall.
Ooh.
Wow. That was Owego in the wall. Unfortunately for them, they've now got to try and get their way back through again. They're on 60% damage as well. So it's not a full 100 here, Chris, but even 60% on a car like this is definitely going to do some damage.
Such a shame. They'd practiced well, and it's a beautiful car. That's a really tricky corner on cold tires on the first lap, and it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it definitely did, and that was the thing. We wanted to try and survive the first lap. Well, unfortunately for Owego, they didn't quite survive it. They ended up going off the side of the track here, and unfortunately for them, well, they're going to have to try and fight their way back through. Let's have a look at that again. As you can see here for Blythe and Brandon, does end up going off the side of the circuit and makes a big crash as well. He's left, and then unfortunately just goes in too hot, straight into the wall. And unfortunately for him, that has put them further back on that one. Brendan, not a good start for Owego. They've got some work cut out for them to do.
No, like Chris was saying, cold tires is your enemy. You push too hard, and the car will just fly right out. But you know what? If they keep their head down, they can try to conquer some spots back quickly. But depending on how much damage that car has.
It's fairly beat up. The front is pretty much bashed as well. There's some damage on the rear, right? Well, they're going to have to see how they get on. But at the moment, RCK out in front, coming into this corkscrew section through turn 8A and off now on the run into the right-hander of 9. RCK out in front, stretching it by 6 seconds at the moment. Chris, as a driver, I don't know if you've ever been in this position where you've been leading for 6 seconds. What advice would you give for Jeremiah and Cody right about now?
Yeah, no, I've had the good fortune of winning races by a pretty decent margin around Laguna, and I have to say, it is a place that's pretty relentless. It's not a place you can let up. You have to pull all the levers. You cannot fall asleep around this place, and if you do, you're going to be in trouble. And it's one of these things where I think you just have to remember what got you to the dance and stay within your constraints. Very often, sometimes you get out to a lead, you can... you really got to be disciplined. It's one thing if you're chasing someone or if someone's right behind you, but when you're by yourself, there's an extra level of focus that you've got to put on yourself, because if you're not putting that kind of guideline around yourself, you'll make a mistake and you'll wonder what happened.
Well, I am wondering what's going on right about now, because a lot of people have gone into the pits here and the pit window isn't open. The pit window, the race has only been going for 4 minutes. The pit window opens with 14 minutes remaining on the clock and closes with 8 minutes. But yet, RCK, FDR, and Danny and Claire have all been in pit lane. Matteo, I'm not quite sure if you can spread any light on that situation? Matt, as you're here, actually, you might be able to tell me what's happening.
So at least 2 teams asked me about serving a penalty because they false started.
So is that why they've had to go in?
There's at least 2 teams. I think the two lead row teams false started. They went on the next to last horn, and I think they got a drive-through, but it looks like they've gone in for a full service instead, and I'm not sure about the third team, but certainly that seems to be a false start problem for a couple of teams.
Okay, but they've still got to go in again and stop, right?
Yes, they do.
So the likes of RCK are going to be in deep trouble because they have got to put a pit stop again.
Indeed, they do. But for the driver swap, they just need to stop somewhere in the pit area, and I stressed them not in their box. They just need to change the driver and get back out again.
Well,
RCK, they've dug themselves a bit of a hole, but if they keep their heads together and drive smoothly, they can certainly get themselves back up.
Well, that's Cody in the car at the moment. I believe he's got some big old corrections going on here for RCK. That's a little bit confusing and going to put the likes of RCK possibly out of contention here, Matteo. That's surely going to be a tough one to recover from, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, I'm surprised, but obviously with that penalty, now RCK is in the back of the pack. We got Owego who was looking it was dangerous for Owego, and now look at where they're at. Things on the racetrack can change just like that, and this is what we're seeing here with Chase and Jeter now in second place. Let's see how consistent they can stay as they separate from the pack after those pit stops. Wow, I'm very surprised.
Well, Matteo, Dover is your pick, and he's sitting in second. There is Double J in the Cobra here as well. Chris, if I gave you a car between the Shelby Daytona and the Cobra, which one would you take?
Well, it's tough to say because they've got different strengths at different parts of the circuit. The Daytona was really built for Le Mans. It was a slightly later edition of the car. A little bit more streamlined and maybe a little bit less drag, but obviously a little bit more weight, a little higher center of mass. I think probably around here, I think it's probably pretty even. I'm watching these guys. I'm telling you, I am impressed with what these drivers are doing. I mean, these cars are absolutely on the edge. I feel like I'm watching a 1960s film here of guys, executing four-wheel drifts. And we've had a couple missteps, but if you look at the pace that some of these cars are pushing and how hard the cars are being driven, it's still anybody's game.
Is this the consistency is key track, Chris? Is this where we're looking at it right now for these drivers, that they've just got to be consistent, hit their marks, and they're in with a chance of making a podium, like the likes of Double J, who weren't really there over the first couple of laps?
Yeah, I think this track probably more than anywhere is a track about average pace. Particularly if you can hang on to the tires. You can rip a good lap in maybe the first couple laps, but then you're going to be hanging on for dear life towards the end. So a big part of driving these cars is just, and as it is with the Trans Am cars, which have 850 horsepower, it's discipline. It's actually restraint. That's kind of the secret. And then you hope you have something left for the last few laps to really push when the fuel load is burned off.
I'm quite surprised FDR are going into the pits again. They're a little bit early. Matteo, am I missing something here? Do they not know the pit window opens?
Yeah, I don't know what we're missing. The window isn't open. They're coming right back out, so I guess that was a mistake and no good for FDR there.
It's a bit hard without penalty information, unfortunately, but we only get that they've got a penalty. We don't actually know what the penalty ends up relating to. That's one of the downsides of this. And it looks like FDR did have a drive-through and they have gone into the pits. Be interested to see why Jeremiah and Cody are back in pit lane again. Cody's still in the car, so unless again he's given himself a form of penalty there, we kind of need Matt Overton to come and explain what this is. But at the moment, RCK are in a really bad shape because they are one lap down currently as well, and Waverley are also 1 lap down to Owego, who is out in front at the moment. That is going to be massive here, Brendan, when you look at the situation that Blythe has just put. Danny, Aiden, Jeremiah, they've all been a lap down already. Now, Brendan, are you here?
I am here.
Okay.
I was just on the.
Okay, you're on the phone to catch him. What's happening?
So they false started and they had a penalty, so they had to really take their time before they got black flagged to take that penalty.
So they false started, which gave them a penalty. Then they went into the pits again, and they've still got the pits driver swap to do as well.
Correct.
They're not in a good place here in general, are they?
No, but Cody called me like, we're going to keep our head down and try to push this car to the limit.
Well,
so
we're going to find out with 14 minutes, coming up to 14 minutes when the pit window does open up. We go out in front, and we've got Dover sitting in second. Mateo, that's a pleasing sight for us. Dover have had a bit of a rough season.
Yeah, Dover's had a rough season. They've had some problems with their sim. They've not executed in previous races, and right now holding steady at second place with all these penalties. I mean, now it's just about running this track like they practiced it and keeping those wheels on the track and staying consistent for the rest of this race. Let's see how these pit swaps work. We're leading up to the 14-minute mark now.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out and see how these guys get on. The pit stop cycle opens now. This is where they can go into the pits. If they're in and around the pit box, I would have presumed they might have already go in. It's the likes of Double J. They've all got to go in and make their driver swaps. All of these guys that have been a lap down, FDR here as well, and everybody else in and around that have all had some form of penalty or issue that has put them in pit lane. We've got 13:35 on the clock as of right now. And at the moment, well, for the likes of Waverley, they're still a little bit struggling. FDR been in and out of pit lane. We've still got lots to play for here, but at the moment, I have to say, Chris, with a 39-second lead and are absolutely running away after their first dramatics, Owego's looking good, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm surprised actually how hard they're pushing right now with a 40-second lead and all those other situations you just mentioned. If you look at the front, they're locking up fronts in a lot of the entries, and you just got to be careful. You know, that car hit the wall, whatever, 60-70% damage. I'd be nursing it a little bit more.
Do we think, though, that these guys might not realize that that's their situation that they have got to do, Chris? Because as you say, there's smoke coming out of it. Out the front, every corner entry, they're pushing the gap out to 41 seconds. They have got a pit stop to make. So if you were with them in person, Chris, what would you be saying to them right now?
I think if I was sitting with them in the pit lane, I probably would have seen those other folks coming through the pit lane and try to find out if they're going to face further penalties. If they are, then I would back the pace down considerably. I think that right now Owego's driving as if they've got to create a gap, so that way they can come in and not get overcut on the pit strategy. So, I don't blame them for pushing, and it is a relatively short time, but these cars are, you got to look after the brakes. A lot of weight, not huge brakes, small tires. You got to be careful with how hard you're using up the car.
Yeah, Double J have just gone into pit lane. That's going to be another car lap down. Are they on a mission here, Mateo, to put everyone a lap down?
I guess so. I mean, Owego just passed up their pit stop there to do another lap, so they're pushing their little 6-minute window, but hopefully Blythe puts it in there on this go. But I'm with Chris on this one. I mean, I would take it easy with this huge lead right now. And just be consistent.
Absolutely.
He put 10 seconds. He put almost 10 seconds on them, which is incredible in a couple lap period. I mean, it's just outrageous how fast they're pushing.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that, as I found out, Chris, and all the time I've been doing this, trying to tell a racing driver to slow down, I might as well talk to a wall and hope it answers back, to be honest. It doesn't happen very often.
No, Isaac Newton wishes to have a word occasionally, and that's unfortunately the law that you can't argue with.
Yep, and definitely can not there. And at the moment, Dover have just gone into pit lane. And they're coming in now. We'll see if we can catch their driver swap on camera. And it looks like they may have already done it, to be honest. I think they've already stopped and gone through. That was very speedy of them. I guess they've got that down at Dover there, Matteo, where one jumped in, one jumped out, and we missed the whole thing.
I'll tell you what, Chase and Jeter, they're two characters. And I wouldn't push them past them if they just hopped right in right after the one popped out. So pretty impressive. I like Dover in second place right now. Nobody's expecting it. We are really expecting RCK and Owego to be 1 and 2 today. And now I got the Dover in second place. Let's see how they finish. Owego's got to finish this race though the right way. And I tell you what, Dover can make up that time with a big mistake. So let's see what Owego does.
Well, they were in pit lane. Owego right about now. That Cody's just Bryce just hopped out. It looks like Brandon's taken over. He has got some cool shades on his face, unless that's just me. No, he has got ski glasses on as well. Looks very cool sitting in the front in that rig. So off he goes. Double J is on their way through. That's to unlap themselves. That isn't a battle for the lead. Owego have absolutely pulled away, and meteoric 41 seconds. Double J now, are they going to survive? Oh, yes, they are. They've just managed to unlap themselves. For how long, though, Brendan, is going to be a different story. That long, unfortunately.
Looks like they had a problem there on corner entry.
Yeah, he just got it. It just went in, I think, a little bit too hot, and unfortunately couldn't get the car slowed down. And then they just ran straight in deep here. But I think this is one of the things when you're driving these cars. I've taken these cars out, Chris, and I don't know if you've ever driven these virtually as what you may have done in real life, but they are very, very difficult cars to drive.
Oh, I think what these guys are doing behind the wheel is pretty remarkable. You know, it's the Cobras in the best of time were an aggressive and challenging car to manage, and you know, to see these young students doing so well behind the wheel, I think anybody who's just tuning in or watching from home, it's easy to sell short just how much concentration this is requiring out there.
Oh, FDR, Double J side by side, going to run into turn 9. Yeah! Double J just gave FDR a nose job and then gets a kiss on the bum for their bad troubles here into the final corner. FDR's dived up the inside. Double J, no!
Ooh, the sand trap.
Yep. It almost there. They were having a nice little battle going into 10, and then unfortunately, Double J just goes and runs in. I think Matteo, from my point of view, he went in hot to try and go around the outside, and then unfortunately just didn't look like he could get that Cobra stopped.
Yeah, I you can really feel the psychology of these drivers when that's happening. What do I do? What do I do? And that pressure's on. And if you don't have enough practice sessions in, you sort of get a little nervous, and you might not make the right move. So that's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I think you might be right, but Blythe is, I think it's Brandon in the car now, I should say, and they're still out in front there. New best time from RCK. They've got the fastest lap of the race at the moment, and we're going to have a look how far behind the guys in front they are. They've got a 24-second gap to make up to FDR to get that 4th spot. At the moment, of course, RCK are going to score 33 points here. Matteo, that's going to be very interesting in the point standing.
Yeah, I mean, really what that's going to do, if Owego pulls off here, if they pull this victory off, they're going to be so far ahead of Ketchum that Ketchum won't be able to take the victory on the last lap. But we'll see if Jeremiah and Cody can get that 4th place finish, because there's more points to be had there than that 5th place finish. So we'll just see how it all plays out. What happened with Owego right now with INT? What
that's the interval gap. Don't worry. That's the gap that they've got behind. So there's a 46-second gap behind them. So yeah, don't worry, Matteo. They've not broken. Or anything. It just tells you that we're looking at the intervals between each driver rather than the intervals of the gap to the leader, because that's the gap to the leader. So they've got 46.36 So there you go, 46 seconds to go here. 6 minutes, Chris. We're going into the final sort of nitty gritty. You know, the racing's kind of settled down. The main story will be if RCK can get Double J here. From RCK's point of perspective, though, they have got quite a lot of time to make up. It's about 8.8 seconds. Is that something they're able to do within 5 minutes? Because, mind you, their lap times are considerably quicker than the guys in front.
Yeah, I think they're on a tear. I mean, 34s around Laguna is a stout lap time. I mean, just to put it in perspective, the modern Trans Am cars right now are sort of doing 24s, 25s in the best of times. So to be within 10 seconds of that in one of these cars with so much less grip is just driving the wheels off it. And, you know, it's interesting. They are pushing because they have to, but yet I don't see them dropping wheels off. So this is definitely watching some excellent driving, and it looks like they're definitely going to jump ahead here. If you look ahead up, Owego looks like it's kind of settled into its pace. I think somebody must have said you guys are safe. But right now, RCK is just going for broke, and if I were in that blue car, I'd be a little concerned right now because you're going to have that purple car coming up pretty soon on you.
Yeah, you definitely are. They're near enough on the same part of the racetrack here, and they normally will be able to see them. They can't see them. This is what's going to spur them on. I'd like to point out one of the reasons for that is that 21.6 second last lap time that was quicker from RCK over Double J. So 21 seconds in a lap is mighty. And now he can see the blue there as well. He's now going to close in on that Cobra in front. The Daytona has got his bit between the teeth. It can see his next target, and it is Double J in that blue Cobra. Is he going to be able to get there? We're going to find out very, very shortly. I don't think there's a matter of if, Matteo, or it's going to be a matter of when, isn't it?
Oh, they're determined. They wish this race was another 10 minutes longer. And we'll see how and if he passes this John Jay car. Nash and Arif know he's coming, and we'll just see what they can do here. If they can push that car fast, they don't got the same lap times as Ketchum does right now, so we'll just see how this all pans out here, because the pass is the most important. So this is the dangerous moment here. Let's see what happens with Ketchum.
Well,
they're acting like.
Go on, Brendan.
They're acting like Roadrunner right now. They're like, meet, coming through.
Yeah, they're closing in on them. The question will be is how clean's the overtake going to be, and where is it going to be? That's going to be the thing here. Double J going up the hill, and they're going to point at the curb on the right-hand side. Then they've got to get on the brakes to the crest. Now it's going to be all about what defense has Double J got. Have they got anything here for these guys behind? He's left the door wide open. Close him off. If you're going to do it, you've got to do it quick. Now hug the inside line because you want him to go around the outside. Don't leave the door open here, Matthew Overton. It's all getting exciting. And he's not there. Matteo. Oh, he's done it again.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, and just that final corner that kills so many race chances.
Oh,
looking in your mirrors,
and he hit the wall.
Oh no!
He was looking in his mirrors. You are right. That was a mirror drive in 101, and it starts here. He starts going off. Unfortunately for Double J there.
Oh,
wow!
Ooh.
That was the first one. That could explain why he ended up so close, and then he goes and accelerates too much, and unfortunately that back end comes round.
Oh no, the classic problem of just getting on the power too hard off track, and if you can see there, the wheels just hooked up and just sent them right into the wall. You know, and unfortunately that's on start finish line, so everyone's watching that one.
Yeah, unfortunately as well. Don't impound it, Chris. Make it worse for him. Everybody can see you off the start finish line.
Well, look, I mean, I've done it. I've seen other people do it. So, you know, they're amongst friends here. It's a friendly commentary.
It was crazy because one of the things we talked about and worked together is like when you get back on the front stretch and you're in first gear, roll onto the throttle. Don't jam into it because you'll just light the tires up going back into the second gear.
Hey, James, can we look at Jeremiah and Cody's screen? Because it looks like they're approaching FDR right before this race is over.
FDR has gave them an opening. They were on the climb up to the corkscrew, and they spun it around into the wall, lost a bag of time, and so the hunt's on again.
the final lap of the race. So FDR are also chasing down on Dover. Dover a little bit further ahead. That is FDR putting a lap on the back group there of Waverley, but you've got to allow him, give him some room to get through here. Up the inside he goes. Now it's going to be interesting because RCK have got one more lap. I think Owego are going to make this possibly the final lap here. They did a 1:39 last time. They crossed over with about a minute 39 and a half on the clock, so we'll have to see if this will definitely be the final lap or if Owego will, well, they could, to be fair, pull over, get a cup of tea, sit down, take a break and still win the race anyway. But what's happening with RCK? Well, they've got the back marker of Waverley in front of them now as well. Waverley not making it easy. RCK go up the inside and through they go. Now it's going to be on here and we're going to find out. This is going to be very, very tight here, Matt, whether or not this is going to be the final lap at all.
I think it's going to be. I'm just watching the live timing. It looks like the leader's going to cross after the time has run out. So this is it.
Final lap then, final corner for the guys in Owego. He's going to come over the line. He's going to take the victory in round number 6, and it's going to be a win for Owego after their early crash. What's happening with RCK and FDR? Well, they're that close, and they haven't got a lot of corners to go. It is one corner. FDR has got to stay ahead now for this run out. They buried the corner.
Taking it with
Power down.
Power, go, 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 go. Over the line goes FDR as well.
Wow, what a tight race.
that was whoa.
Then it stopped. There you go. It's all done and dusted. I don't know if they know it's finished, but there you go.
Well, I'm wondering because they're still going at it pretty hard. I wonder if they know I wonder if the race is over.
Oh, no.
Well, the checkered flags.
Oh, no.
Send it up. Send it on him.
Oh,
Send it.
yeah, the checker's out. The checker's out, but they're not paying attention.
They're not really stopping here. They're still carrying on. Matt, do you want to tell them to it's finished?
Oh! That's a good clue. Would the leader stop?
The leader's personal, guys.
Yeah, there's clearly
I think,
more.
let's let them.
High bomb on the cooldown lap.
I'll let them run it out.
Well, I think they should let them have some fun, Matt. They're clearly enjoying
I'm just
themselves.
gonna let them run it. Just finished up, but.
Oh, dramatics on the fire.
You don't see this one too much. You don't see this too much on a cooldown lap. Let's just say that.
No. Well, I don't think they're cool at all.
No, I think this is the first one to get to the pit lane wins, I think, to be blatantly honest. Whether or not that's both cars or one of them ends up going round. I'm not really sure how with this one.
They've realized.
Oh, well. They've had some fun for the final cooldown lap anyway on here.
I think they have. I think they have.
There you go. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that has brought up the end of the race. Despite what's going on the screen, I can tell you it has actually finished, and clearly they don't know that because they've gone round the last corner once more. But we'll bring you up at the session results of the race as these guys continue to go. Absolutely amazing. Blythe from Brandon from Owego take the victory. Let's not forget, guys, they had a major accident on lap number 1. Chase the Jester go in second there for Dover. Mateo's going to be happy. FDR, Aidan and Chris grab third over Jeremiah and Cody from RCK, who are still fighting on the screen. And Nash and Arif from Double J, my boys down in 5th. And then Danny and Claire from Waverley there as well. Brendan, they've all done rather well, haven't they? Let's be real about it. They've kept it on track for most of the time. Brendan? Okay, I'm just going to mute him for 2 seconds there.
I know.
While he's having a chat. Mateo, not a bad race. Oh my God, is that?
It wasn't a bad race at all, Brendan. I can still hear Brendan when you mute him. Yeah, what a great race. I mean, I can't believe Owego pulled that off after that opening crash there. We were really seeing how well Ketchum practiced this month. And they were ready for a race. And unfortunately, when you have a false start, I'd like to ask Chris about that because that's got to be just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's just, it's one of these things where like James said, it's hard to tell racing drivers to slow down. And, they just jumped the gun and it proved to be pretty costly. But what a charge to come back up through the field the way they did. And, you got to hand it to FDR for holding them off there. I mean, that was a determined charge that RCK was making. But, hey, The one group we got to talk about that we haven't really talked about much is Dover. I mean, what a performance from those guys to just be steady, consistent all the way through. Didn't put a wheel wrong. We got to give credit to our second place finisher here, and the Owego guys. After that first lap miscue, were just flawless. Very impressive driving all through the field today.
Yeah, as well. I think it was just Mr. Consistent for the likes of Dover. I think that was the thing. They barely made any mistakes. They picked up pieces when Owego went off. They picked up when RCK went in at the same time. They were just almost, Matt, consistently consistent.
They just did a super race, really steady driving, and avoided the mistakes. That's a key element to being in the hunt for a win. So well done to them. They did a great job this race. I've got Owego all set to come in when you're ready.
Yeah, let's bring them into the booth. We will bring up the camera as well. Let's bring it in here as we start off with your winners, the guys from Owego. Do I have Blythe first?
Yes, you do.
How are you, Blythe?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Not bad. I've just watched you go and absolutely smash the car into the wall on lap number 1, and then everybody else got penalties, and you come through and took the victory.
Yeah, that was just a very high tense moment. Like, you're not really thinking about the track or your tire temperatures. You're just worrying about who's behind you, who's in front of you, and it's a very wide tracks, which makes it unpredictable because there's so many like opportunities or like places you could be on the track and how fast you could go or how slow you can go at what point. And I just wasn't thinking about that, but we got very lucky for the penalties and everything. It just worked out well for us. But
was it that mindset of having to get in front of RCK right at the beginning?
I wasn't worried about getting in front of them. It was more worried about, are they going to break and me hitting behind them, or is someone going to hit behind me, or is someone going to throw you off? And that's going to completely mess with your head.
All right, man. Well done for taking the victory. Let's have a quick chat with Brandon, who's rocking some cool sunnies. There is Brandon there. Looks like he should be more skiing at Aspen than he should be driving a simulator in RF2 there. How are you, dude? Welcome in. You're looking very cool today. Is it bright over there in Owego?
Not really this morning.
Just your cool image on that one. How was it out on the racetrack? You were out in front. You were still pushing. I will say, advice from Mr. Chris Dyson that you probably shouldn't been pushing as much as you was there to give you sort of a 40-odd second lead.
Yeah, I probably should have slowed down a little bit, get my head start.
How was it out on the racetrack anyways? I said Laguna is famous for being very slidey and slippery and having minimal grip, but you guys seem to manage it well.
Yeah, there's certain corners that the car would slide around. I couldn't stay in a certain gear, so I had to go slow around certain turns.
Situation for the final lap. Knew you was out in front. It was going to be very close on time. Did you make that the final lap?
Yeah.
You did. Well done on your victory. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Rogers, pretty cool deal.
Matt, give us a wave, bro. You're on camera. There you go. There he is. We go there as well. Let's pop them back in. Thank you very much, boys. And that is it for today. Let's start off with the man himself, Mr. Matthew Overton. Matt, how was it? Did you enjoy it? And what do you think is going to happen next time we go off to Lime Rock? No, Matt. Okay, let's do Mateo. Same question.
Yes. Well, look at Owego just really made a statement today. They are way ahead in the points. It's going to be really hard to catch them now. So they're just going to need to run that consistent race. So let's see how they practice this month, because I don't think anybody can catch them. In no pun intended, but catch them now is sitting in 6th place with the points. So they're going to have to make a statement just to bring themselves back into, not so far down, because these points are all going to lead towards who's going to win the overall championship on May 23rd at Lime Rock Park itself. And we'll race here virtually at Lime Rock Park in our last race of the season. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, Matthew Overton, what do you think?
I'm unmuted now. Great race. I loved the close racing that we saw all the way through. Some and clean passing. Just a real step forward in the quality of driving that the drivers are showing. Lots of practicing, and I'm looking forward to the final race as well. That's going to be very exciting.
It definitely is. And Chris, for your first time here, buddy, it's been great having you up in the booth. How did you find it?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this year's crop of drivers, and just this is going to be very competitive down to the wire. If today's race is any indication, I hope everyone's enjoying doing the racing as much as we all enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, it was a great gripping race there as well. Died down a little bit, but that's a bit like F1 on TV. You watch the first 10 laps, then you go have your Sunday dinner, sleep, and wake up for the final 10 laps. But hey, that's just racing. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Chris Dyson, Matteo Longren, Brendan Doherty, and Matthew Overton here this evening. And as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.